Hi everyone, today's video is all about melee guide for beginners. The build we will walk through is Boneshatter Juggernaut and Boneshatter Slayer. There will be a series of 3 videos about it, so if you want to play melee for the first time, check out other 2 videos coming up soon. Compared to spell builds, melee builds have a lot of things to pay attention to, so if you are a beginner or if this is your first time playing melee, please check every step of the video. This video is edited with Juggernaut, but all the guides for Slayer is also included. So, Slayer or Juggernaut? It is safe to say that there is not much difference between the two, and if I must pinpoint the difference, Juggernaut is more tankier and Slayer has more dealing. Some people might say Juggernaut's tankiness is better towards the end game, but to be honest, such difference is ignorable because it is very unlikely for a league starter to clear endgame uber bosses, especially with Boneshatter. So choose your ascendancy up to your preference. Go for Marauder to play Juggernaut, and Duelist to play Slayer. Passive tree in Act 1 will look like this. You'll be starting at the Twilight Strand, kill Hillock and enter Lionized Watch, get Ground Slam from Tarkley, and link with Ruthless Support. Before you leave the town, purchase Iron Ring from Nesa and put it on right away. If you see 2-hand axe or 2-hand mace on the ground, they are for you, so you have to check them out. If you see 3 red links in armors, put them in the stash for later. We need a lot of red sockets, so if you see any armors with many reds, you have to pick them up. As for rewards from breaking some eggs, get Ancestral Protector and Steel Skin. Also, get chance to bleed support from Mercy Mission. For the flask, go for Quicksilver Flask. And before you leave the town, purchase War Banner, Blood and Sand, and Frost Blink from Nesa. The current skill settings will be looking like this. After passing the climb, you will encounter Brutus in Upper Prison. You should have a decent 2-hand weapon by now, so do not forget to check for weapons on the ground and in stores. At this stage, any weapon with higher physical damage or elemental damage is considered good. Items that add flat damage like Iron Ring are all significant, so if you find them, equip them as you go. If you have Blacksmith's Whetstone, try Vendor SP to a 2-hand weapon with high physical damage, like Tribal Mao. Selling a melee weapon, Magic Rustic Sash, and Blacksmith's Whetstone to the vendor will add increased physical damage to the weapon. In the Crucible League, your weapon will have flat physical damage passive, so killing boss mobs will be much easier than in this video. After clearing Brutus, get Leap Slam and faster attack support from the Caged Brute rewards. Purchase Maim support from Nesa, and link with Ancestral Protector. This step is a must, so do not skip it. From this point, you should start picking up magic and rare items from the ground because you can gain orbs by selling them. These 2 orbs are used to purchase gems or crafting, so save them as many as you can. When you reach Cavern of Wrath, come back to Lionized Watch and receive Sunder from Nesa. It's finally the time to ditch Ground Slam. Sunder, it cannot be used with swords, so if you're a duelist, you need to get an axe or a mace. Until the weapon is ready, you can use Spectral Helix with a sword instead of Splitting Steel. And while you're in the town, get 2 Sapphire Rings from Nesa. You can kill Merveil very easily with them. This is the passive tree for Act 2. Route in Act 2 is a bit complicated. First of all, go through the old fields and the crossroads to get to the Chamber of Sins. Clear Intruders in Black and receive Herald of Ash from Groost. Purchase Herald of Purity and Blood Rage from Yina. At this point, totally 4 auras are being used: War Banner, Blood and Sand, Herald of Purity, and Herald of Ash. Starting from Act 2, using two-hand X is definitely recommended because we are starting to use X-Naws in the passive tree. So try to identify all the rare X's you find on the ground. If you proceed to the Broken Bridge, you will encounter Kraton. He is a part of the bandit quest. In Act 2, there are totally 3 bandits that you can choose to kill or not. Just killing them all is totally alright. Clear Sharp and Cruel from Silk, and get close combat support for rewards. Get Rage support from Yena, and the link as follows. However, you do not need to rush to complete all 4 links now. You can wait until the right 4 link gear is dropped, because you can definitely continue with 3 links until Act 5 if you have a decent weapon. However, if you're still equipping a weapon from Act 1, your dealing might be not good enough. If you couldn't find a good axe, you can buy one from Groost and proceed the vendor recipe for increased physical damage. If you have Essence of Contempt that adds physical flat damage to weapons, do not hesitate to use it on the white grade axe. When your weapon is ready, it is time to start paying attention to resistance and life stats on gears. PoB for this build is focused more on dealing, so you might feel that survival is a little bit weak. And the flasks. They are the most important. Medium and large flasks should be gone by now. If you couldn't get a good flask on the ground, you should buy the Grand Life Flask from Yena. This is the passive tree for Act 3. Act 3 is great because you can choose Ascendancy, so check out the Ascendancy trees before you proceed. After clearing Lost in Love given by Clarissa, you can now use Curse skills, get Vulnerability for rewards, and equip it right away. As you suspected, it is a Curse skill. It will be really helpful when you do the boss fights. You will be doing fine if you have been keen on changing weapons, but if you feel like you're dying too much, go to Crafting Bench in Hideout and top up the missing resistances. It will help you a lot on survival. Clear Sever the Right Hand and get Ancestral War Chief for rewards. It'll be used later in Act 4. When Trial of Ascendancy in Imperial Gardens is cleared, now you're ready for the Labyrinth through Aspirants Plaza in the Sun Encampment. Izaro is the boss of the labyrinth, and Izaro has big motions, so running away from it could be pointless. Keep a good eye on it, and then you can definitely dodge big attacks. However, if you're not feeling confident in your controls, you can use Determination, which you can get it from Clarissa. Due to mana reservation, Herald of Ash and Herald of Purity might need to be off, so it will lower your damage. Instead, now you'll be able to survive through 1 or 2 big attacks. After choosing an Ascendancy, you'll become much more powerful, so the rest of the act will feel easier.
The touch of God! Nightmare prevails!
This is the passive tree for Act 4 to 5. Dealing from Act 4 gets really great because your attack speed is much more increased, from Rage support, Onslaught support, and Combat Rush from Close Combat support. You really shouldn't have any difficulties in this stage. If you feel weaker in Act 4 than in previous acts, gem settings and weapons must be reviewed. Do not forget to update weapons and flasks as you go. Starting from Act 3, physical damage crafting is available at Crafting Bench. So instead of using vendor recipes, do some physical damage crafting on a good based weapon. And current skill settings are as follows. As for multiple totem support, you can get it from the Eternal Nightmare rewards. Ancestral Protector and Ancestral War Chief, don't forget to use them in boss fights, because they give big increase to the damage. In Act 5, you'll get a flask and a ring from quest rewards, get a granite flask, and choose a ring based on your missing res. When you move on to Act 6, all resistances will be dropped by 30%. So let's try to keep all the res above at least 80%.
If you truly understand what it means to be Nightmare. I gave my life. Nightmare gave me so much more. Accept the gift of immortality. True eternal. Why are you so in love with death?
This is the passive tree for Act 6 to 10. In order to switch to Boneshatter, your passive tree needs to get to Call to Arms and Attack Mastery right away. After clearing Fallen from Grace, you'll be able to buy most of the gems from Lilyroth, so the new skill settings would be as follows. Take a note that Boneshatter shouldn't be purchased from Lilyroth. You can get the higher level one from Clarissa in Sauron Encampment. Assign Ancestral Cry on the right click and Molten Shell on the left click. Cast when damage taken support is a triggering skill when you get hit. It requires right skill gem levels to work as shown in the text. From Act 6, you'll begin to unlock Pantheon as you kill each boss. We'll use Solaris and Tukohama. At this moment, you are not immune to bleeding and corrupted blood, which is very critical to survival. So by Act 7, make sure to have a bleeding and corrupted blood immunity mod on your flask. From Act 9, you'll be able to obtain veiled items from betrayal encounters. If you find unveiled two-hand axe, you have to unveil increased physical damage option. Veiled options are incredibly good. If you unveil two-hand axe and add flat physical damage or attack speed on Crafting Bench, you'll be able to build up until you get to the yellow maps. Even if you didn't find two-hand axe from Betrayal, it is alright because you can add unveiled mods to your weapon at Crafting Bench. Get two-hand axe with attack speed or flat physical damage and slap unveiled option on it. It will help you a lot through the act and in the beginning of mappings as well. As for armors, use as many essences as possible. Don't hesitate to use them on normal grade armors besides essences of content. If you don't use them now, they'll become useless later on. In Act 10, a flask is rewarded. You should go for the silver flask. And that's it for today. Hope this helps and hope it's not too difficult to follow through. Link to the POB is in the description. Thanks for watching. Bye!